Welcome to Creepy Conversations. I'm Gabby and I'm a tourist in China today.
And I'm Kalai and I'm a market vendor, river market vendor in China today.
Oh God, look what I did. God damn it. You can't see
Nothing is showing. Jesus. If you guys are wondering why we're like silent, Gabby is trying to show something on Patreon.
And it's not working because
the background just doesn't want us. By the way,
I actually
Patreon,
want our listeners to be on Patreon because I feel like I am such a mood, you guys. Like, because you can't get out of the house, it really just feels like touring. I've got my heart-shaped glasses and the glare that's as if I'm out under the sun.
Yeah. You guys should sign up. It's patreon.com/creepyconvos. We've got a lot of extra shit there. So you guys better sign up because, yeah, it's more like intimate there.
And you guys can see us.
Let's jump right to it. This week, by the way, we're going to be talking about one of the most famous paranormal creatures in China. But before we start, my sources are History 101, Ancient Origins, and of course, Wikipedia. So we're going to be talking about the Jiang Shi, or also known as the Chinese hopping vampire or the hopping zombie. So it's like a mixture.
I think I can imagine them.
Yeah.
It's like a number 7 and they like jump.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ooh.
So they're a type of reanimated corpse in Chinese legends and folklore. Their characters for Jiang Shi are read Jiang Shi in Cantonese, Kuang Thi in Vietnamese, Gang Si in Korean, and Kyon Shi in Japanese. It is also known as Phi Dip Chin in Thailand, and Hantu Bokong in Malay, which I think, Gabby, you covered Bokong in like your shorty.
But that was like Indonesia.
Yeah. I think they're like cousins or something. And vampire, I don't know if this is Sina or Kina in Indonesia. But the one that Gabby covered from Indonesia kind of reminds me of this, which I'll let you know why. So it's typically depicted as a stiff corpse, as Gabby said earlier, like a number 7, dressed in official garments from the Qing dynasty, and it moves around by hopping with its arms outstretched. And it kills living creatures to absorb their qi, or the life force from your body. Yeah, they kill you usually at night. What? Yes, at night. During the day, they rest in a coffin and hide in dark places such as caves. So they're kind of a mixture of a vampire because they can't stand the sun, and a zombie. If you guys have seen The Kingdom in Netflix, they're not a spoiler, but their zombies are kind of like that.
But these guys are pretty common. I think I've seen them a lot on video games. Like they'd usually be your opponents, or on anime.
Yeah. They dress like how the stereotypical ancient Chinese are dressed. Like, you know, the one with the hat, and like, I'll explain a little bit later on. And so Jiang Shi legends have inspired a genre of Jiang Shi films and literature in Hong Kong and East Asia. So generally, Jiang Shi's appearance can range from unremarkable, such as the case of like a recently deceased person, so you can't tell that it's a Jiang Shi because it just died, to horrifying with like rotting flesh and rigor mortis, as with corpses that have been in a state of decay over a period. The Chinese characters for Jiang and Jiang Shi literally means hard or stiff. The Jiang Shi is recognizable by its posture and movement, as Gabby did earlier. That's why you guys should sign up in Patreon so you can see what she's doing. Her
what I do? Oh my, like that.
Outstretched in front of them, because this is due to rigor mortis, and because of that they have to move around by hopping rather than walking, because they can't, their joints are stiff because of rigor mortis. Jiang Shi are depicted in popular culture to have a paper talisman with a sealing spell attached onto and hanging off the forehead in portrait orientation. I think you've seen those in animes.
Do you guys watch Shaman King? It's there.
It's also in this really cool anime called Yami Shibai, which is not like the typical anime. They look like they're cutouts, and they move. It's fucking scary. You guys should watch that. They have an episode called The Talisman. There you can see what a talisman looks like. And they wear a uniform, coat-like robe with a round top, tall-rimmed hat characteristic of Mandarin. So it has a Mandarin character on the hat, which is known as a Chinese official from the Qing dynasty at that time. That's how they know that you're an official if you wear the hat with that character. Yeah. Some of these beings look like humans. Others a little more decomposed, like I mentioned earlier. And some of them also have a peculiar feature. It's greenish white skin, and they have this theory that is derived from fungus or mold growing on the corpses. And it is said to have long white hair all over its head and may behave like animals. The influence of Western vampire stories brought the blood-sucking aspect to the Chinese myth in more modern times, in combination with the concept of the hungry ghost, which is a common thing in Asian countries.
Yes.
Which we covered in our previous episode. Though traditionally they feed solely on the chi of a living individual for sustenance and in order to grow more powerful. If you guys aren't familiar of what a chi is, which is why are you familiar of what a chi is? Chi is the vital life force that flows through the body and is supposedly regulated by acupuncture. And it's the central and underlying principle in Chinese traditional medicine and Chinese martial arts. So that's why the medicine is to heal your chi, and you do martial arts to strengthen your chi.
I'm so sorry, I'm so busy eating.
Gabby's mouth is literally so full right now. If you guys want to sign up for our Patreon, you guys can get a free mukbang from Gabby.
Take a shot, because I've got some food in my mouth.
So, others have been depicted with sharp teeth, long nails, and emitting a green phosphorescent glow. In some versions of the story, the Jiang Shi are said to be able to grow stronger. That's why they eat people, allowing them to acquire skills such as flying and transforming into wolves. So they're literally
wow.
I'm a vampire, I'm also a zombie, I can also be a fucking werewolf. They love to check everything.
They're so extra. No, you know why? Because they're Asians. You have to be the best at everything when you're Asian.
At everything. So, where do they come from? So the supposed origins of the Jiang Shi stories came from the folk practice of transporting a corpse over 1,000 li. So a li, just a trivia, a li is a Chinese unit of measure, kind of like a Chinese mile, but if converted to the standard length, it's half a kilometer, which is a third of a mile for y'all as Americans. Also, quick trivia. At that time, a li is as long as a regular Chinese village. So that's how they used to measure. Just thought I'd let you know.
Oh my god, wait, hold on. As long as a Chinese village?
A regular Chinese village, which is half a mile. Half a kilometer, sorry.
How is that even a unit of measurement? It's like, it's as long as an arm. And that's not like uniform, you know? There is like different lengths. So how could you be like, oh, it's as long as a Chinese village? Like,
before, their Chinese villages were like almost the same length.
Like very specific.
Yeah, so that's how they like used that as a unit of measure. So, I've already passed a whole ass Chinese village. This is now, I've passed 1 li like that. So
can you imagine doing ocular inspection and you're like, no, this is no longer a village because you went past a li.
But they've like transformed it now into like an actual measurement, which is the half a kilometer. Which, because they use it now, but before they probably were like, this is a li now because I've passed the whole village.
It's like a more or less kind of thing.
Yeah. So, the relatives of a person who died far away from home couldn't afford vehicles to have their deceased person's body transported home for burial. So they would hire a Taoist priest to conduct a ritual to reanimate the dead person and teach him or her to hop their way home. Which is kind of like, to me it's funny because they were like, I love it. Sorry, we don't like you enough to bring you home to your family, so you can send yourself home.
Yeah. It's like fend for yourself.
Yeah, they were like, we'd rather start a zombie apocalypse than send you home. Okay, thanks, bye. So the priests would transport the corpses only at night and would ring bells to notify others in the vicinity of their presence because at that time it was considered bad luck for a living person to set eyes upon a Jiang Shi, which is also the reason why they did it at night. This practice is called Jiang Shi, which literally translates to driving corpses in Jiang Shi. Jiang Shi is like a popular place where, I think it's a city now, where people used to leave their hometowns to work elsewhere. So people from Jiang Shi would leave Jiang Shi to work elsewhere. And a lot of these corpses that died were from Jiang Shi, and that's what they did to bring them home. So that's where Jiang Shi originated, or the practice of like Jiang Shi originated.
Can you imagine if they still did that during COVID? Like, how many corpses would be there?
Right? That is so unsanitary. Anyway,
true.
After they died, their bodies were transported back to their hometown because it was believed that their souls would feel homesick if they were buried somewhere unfamiliar to them. Which, how would you know?
What if they wanted to be there?
Right!
We should make like a skit for that. Like, the body of the deceased is like happy being there, and then they do this whole ritual for him to hop back home, and he is having an internal dialogue like, fuck bitch, no!
We're literally planning our TikTok skits while recording.
No, but I mean, like, I get it. Plausible thought.
Could you imagine, like, if you were just in a coma and you're not really dead, which is like a common thing before, and like in your brain you're like, I don't really want to go home. I don't want to be buried in Shanxi. I want to be buried here, man.
But you're still hopping your way back home.
Right.
But your head is like, no, turn back. You can't.
Anyway, the corpses would be arranged upright in single file and be tied to long bamboo rods on their sides, while 2 men, one at the front and one at the back, would carry the ends of the rods on their shoulders and walk. When the bamboo flexed up and down, the corpses appeared to be hopping in unison when viewed from a distance far away. This reminds me of those... You've seen those videos where there are these street performers, they dance and they have poles attached to them, and it looks like there are multiple people dancing?
Yes, I hate those.
Reminds me of this.
Who signs up for this? Like, oh, that's my job, by the way. I carry dead people
to their hometown.
Yeah, stuck on a bamboo stick.
And mind you, heavy bodies, what? Dead bodies are heavy.
Heavy bodies are dead.
Dead bodies are heavy.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So if you're lining them up, I don't know how many they are. And you're just two people, one at the front and one at the back.
But that is so economical. Like, because usually you would think we would want to transport the body parallel to the ground. But they're like, no, we got to make space. Put them right side up.
We got to make them look like they're walking.
Foosball! Oh my god, you think that's where they got the idea for foosball?
They do look like they're foosballs.
We respect the dead guys, by the way.
Well, they're not... This was a long time ago. And
who knows?
They don't practice this anymore. So it's okay to laugh at them. I'm just kidding.
I can't believe you said that. On the record. I love it.
2 oral accounts of transporting corpses are included in Liao Yiwu's The Corpse Walker. One account describes how corpses would be transported by a 2-man team. One would carry the corpse on his back with a large robe covering both of them and a mourning mask on top of the corpse. The other man would walk ahead with a lantern to warn his companion about obstacles ahead of him. The lantern was used as a visual guide for a corpse carrier to follow, since they could not see with the robe covering them. So could you imagine being this corpse carrier? You're carrying a friggin' corpse on your back and you can't even see where you're walking.
You'll be one of the corpse one day just because of an accident from that.
I am hoping that they pay these, like, they paid these corpse carriers a ton of money, because this isn't an easy job.
What if it's just volunteer work?
Oh, God. What if it's because you're just a Taoist priest? You're just doing this for the good of the dead people. Anyway... It is speculated in the accounts of the book that corpses would be carried at night to avoid contact with people, and the cooler air would be more suitable in transporting the bodies. Could you imagine doing it in daytime?
When you're sweaty,
and the corpse stinks. Like, bodily fluids are, like, coming out.
Blech. And there's a lot of them because it looks like a barbecue.
Right. We did not just compare these dead people to barbecue.
Sorry, fine, kebab.
Jesus. Anyway, some speculate the stories about Jiang Shi were originally made up by smugglers who disguised their illegal activities as corpse transportation, and they wanted to scare off law enforcement officers, which, made me think, criminals, they're very creative. You gotta give it to them.
You're right.
They're like, we need to find a way for the cops to not ask us questions, so let's start doing this.
What do you think the cops would do if randomly they start doing that again? Like, just now.
Just, how unsanitary. In the middle of COVID, you're like, let's bring back Jiang Shi. That's so sus. Like, if I were, like, law enforcement, I'd be like, these guys are up to no good, for sure.
Yeah. Who knows, they could have been smuggling some stuff into these bodies.
Yeah. And they were like spreading the rumors of like these dead bodies are gonna eat people. What assholes.
And people were just like, yes, I believe you guys. I'm going to stay home because yuck.
Also, they probably don't want to turn into Jiang Shis.
Oh, true. There's that.
Anyway, which, like, if I was in that time, I would probably be like, but how are these people carrying the Jiang Shis not infected?
No, maybe that's...
Obviously, that's made up.
What?
Sorry?
No, but it makes sense. Because, like, they say it's bad luck for people to see these things going on. That's why they do it at night. But the people who transport these bodies are fucking alive. So does that mean they and their families are cursed? Or
Forever.
they're just, like, too special? Like, I got a free pass because I'm transporting them. Like, I'm a gatekeeper. I don't know.
I find it so funny how you're saying that I got a free pass and shit, and then you're wearing sunglasses. It's extra sassy.
Oh, the reason why I'm wearing sunglasses is because I'm under the sun and I can't really, I'm a vampire at the moment.
Yep. It is true. Gabby is a real vampire. You guys are lucky to be listening to a real vampire. Anyway, their modern visual depiction as horrific Qing officials may have been derived by the anti-Manchu or anti-Qing sentiments of the Han Chinese population during the Qing dynasty, as officials were viewed as bloodthirsty creatures with little regard for humanity. It's got symbolism, people. They were deep back then. It is also the conventional wisdom of feng. How do you say feng shui, right?
That's it. Yeah, feng shui.
Because I've heard other people say it as feng shui.
I think it depends where you're from.
Right? But I'm just going to say it as feng shui because that's what we're used to in the Philippines. Again, I'll say it again. It is also the conventional wisdom of feng shui in Chinese architecture that a threshold, a piece of wood approximately 15 centimeters or 6 inches high be installed along the width of the door at the bottom to prevent a Jiang Shi from entering the household. So they have this thing because they hop, they can't raise their legs, so that's why they have this wood so that the Jiang Shi can't be like, not this house.
I just realized something. So they hop, right? But it's because of rigor mortis that they're a certain shape. When they hop, do they still get to bend their knees?
No. They're just...
How are their legs not broken?
Because the blood is protecting their legs. Because everything is like stiff. Because they have rigor mortis. So they're just jumping straight.
Yeah, but even when you jump, you kind of like bend your knees a little. So how does that work for them? It's just...
They just do this.
I will try, after this recording, I'll try to mimic what they do just to see if I am able to not bend my knees and hop. And if I end up in the hospital, you know why.
And then you guys should donate to our Patreon because Gabby's in the hospital. This is all just a stunt.
Kids, don't try this at home.
See, Gabby does everything for you guys. She has secret mukbang for our Patreon. And now
my jaw's
kind of
hurt actually from eating since 1 a.m. Sorry, 1 p.m. What?
So now she's gonna go to probably be hospitalized for trying the Jiang Shi jump. Okay,
for you guys.
So if you're interested in turning into a Jiang Shi, Here's how to turn into one. So there are apparently many ways for a dead body to turn into a Jiang Shi. This is also for like, so that you'll know if ever you see like these things happening and you're like, oh shit, that's a Jiang Shi. Yeah, we're letting you guys know. We're the source of information. Just kidding. For instance, according to one version of the myth, a Jiang Shi is created when a person suffers a violent death. For example, like suicide or accidental hanging or drowning. So anything that's not
accidental
natural
hanging.
Death. Yeah,
how does that work?
There are like accidental hangings, like when you can't see that there's a nylon rope, or probably nylons, the ropes weren't existing at that time, but maybe you like did hang like ropes or whatever and you fell and that like whatever and you accidentally hang yourself. Also, there's this like fetish before where they like hang themselves, kind of like how the feeling of like someone's choking you. That's
Can
the thing
we
that
all
people
just
do.
stick to choking if that's the case? And also,
But what
when
if
you
they're
do
single?
that, choke yourself. I mean, this works as well, I guess. I don't know. You know what? Don't play with death.
Don't
maybe.
play with death. Yes. Have you guys seen Game Over? It's a movie by the dudes from Workaholics, or like Adam Devine. It's a movie in Netflix, and there's a part where he does that, the hanging while jerking off. Anyway, let's continue with like these corpses. That was a tangent, sorry. So such deaths cause the soul to be unable to leave the body, thus resulting in reanimating a reanimated corpse. Another belief is that a corpse may become a Jiang Shi if it is not given a proper burial. So I think that's why they all wanted to make sure that they were buried in a place where they were familiar.
Maybe we should put that in a will. Because just so what we imagined earlier would not happen.
Just so you know that you have the consent of the dead body that you're carrying around. Because what if this body doesn't want to be buried in like where you're bringing them, and then they become a Jiang Shi because they don't want to be buried in wherever you're bringing them, right?
Or what if they're too bratty to be like, I don't even want to take myself there. When I die and I want to be buried there, y'all are gonna have to carry me. I ain't hopping.
Yeah, that I would probably be like that. I would be like, you know what? I'm gonna turn into Jiang Shi out of spite because I don't want to walk. I did not like walking when I was alive, and you're making me walk right now.
This reminds me of what happened to us in Malaysia while we were waiting for our turns in the immigration.
Having tantrums.
Yes. We were about to throw a fit just because it took forever and we were tired. That's it. The slightest inconvenience in our lives.
We were both literally like, we are this close to getting angry.
It's like, I want to cry right now. I want to throw a tantrum because I'm fucking tired. And it's not my turn yet. And the line is so long.
It was literally like that. Back to the Jiang Shi. So, for instance, I mentioned earlier before we went on a tangent that if a Jiang Shi isn't given a proper, or if a person isn't given a proper burial, they would turn into a Jiang Shi. An example of that, if a burial was postponed after death, a dead body may become restless and return to haunt the living because their burial was postponed. I would probably also do that. I'm like, I just want to be buried.
So can I die in peace?
Another supposed way of a corpse turning into a Jiang Shi is if it fails to decompose even after burial. Corpses in the Catholic Church, if you don't decompose after you get buried, you become a saint. Like, there are so many instances of like, oh, he didn't like decompose, he must be like saintly, like, right?
But that's not the case with them.
Yeah, they're like, nuh-uh.
It's witchcraft.
Speaking of, literally, there's a church, and I don't know where, but there's a church that has like Saint Catherine or something. Saint somebody. Why am I telling you this story when I don't know the details? But you guys can Google it. A saint that did not decompose, and they kept her body is like in a church, and she's not decomposed or whatever, which is like, why though? You're just asking for a zombie apocalypse. What are you doing?
Did it at least like start to, but then didn't totally decompose, or like nothing?
She looks like she did not die at all. She looks like she was sleeping.
Fuck, I don't know if I want that.
Her body is still in display now, but when I was young, I remember I was like, whoa.
I actually want that. Like, because I don't know. I don't want to die ugly. So it's like, after death, can I also not be ugly? I don't know.
I feel like what happened to her was like, there's this thing called, anyway, I don't want to talk about that because we're going on like a way different tangent. I'll just continue with it.
We'll get back to it if we remember after the whole detail is there.
After the whole thing. After I tell you guys about the Jiang Shi. The last part of how a corpse can turn into a Jiang Shi. Corpses that have been struck by a lightning bolt, or hopped
Frankenstein.
over. Yeah, or hopped over by an animal, like particularly cats, are also said to turn into a Jiang Shi.
Can you imagine if you were like peacefully resting already, like you're dead, and then a cat jumped on you?
Cat.
I would probably be like, bitch, I will take you down 9 times because I did not want to, like, live again in this state. Yes!
Why did you do that?
It's like, how rude.
Which is not surprising because you know how cats are. They're, like, notoriously known to be assholes.
Yes, they'd probably be like, I don't fucking care. I will jump over you because I want to.
Exactly. They probably are doing it out of spite and are like, no, you cannot die because no one's going to be feeding me. So I'm going to turn you into Jiang Shi. You stupid bitch.
I'd probably be that cat if I were a cat.
Anyway, so there are actual methods and items to counter Jiang Shi. So, you know, Jiang Shi, even though they're undead, they can still be dead. You can still kill them.
Oh, okay.
So, first thing, this is like, probably more than 10 in the list. I did not count them. So together we will know. So the first thing on the list are mirrors. In Li Shizhen's medical book, Benkao Gangmu, he mentions a mirror is the essence of liquid metal. It is dark on the external but bright inside. And Jiang Shis are also said to be terrified by their own reflections, which is like, I totally get it. If I were forced to be a Jiang Shi, right? I do not want to look at my face.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm like decomposing. Anyway, so
it makes sense.
Right? You'd be terrified by your own face. Items made of wood from a peach tree. So in the Jingchu Shui Shiji, which is a book, it mentioned that the peach is the essence of the 5 elements. It can subjugate evil auras and deter evil spirits, which I didn't know peaches are like that.
Me too. I don't even like peaches.
It depends on what it's mixed with. Alone, which is probably why we don't like peaches, because it can deter evil spirits.
We are the evil spirit.
It works. A rooster call in Yuan Mei's book, Zibu Yu, it mentions evil spirits withdraw when they hear a rooster's call, because the rooster's call usually occurs when the rise of the sun.
What?
Which is not true, because there's a rooster. It's not really near where we live, but I can hear it. It crows. What do you call a rooster's sound? It does a call. It cries out, whatever. Even in the middle of the day.
I don't want to say cock-a-doodle-doo, because that's so like, what? This isn't a nursery rhyme.
This isn't America.
Mm-hmm. What is that?
What?
I can hear something.
What?
Oh.
Is it?
What just happened? I could hear people in the room.
My room?
It's gone now.
Oh, it's probably because I have neighbors.
No, it sounded like I was in a room and it was like echoey and... Anyway!
Please not do this right now.
I'm fucking freaked out. I was like... I want to run,
sounded like
but
you were
like
in somewhere else.
Yes.
What the
But you
fuck?
were also in it. You were also in it.
Oh my. Anyway, it's the peaches. Okay,
it's gone now.
So the next one is, let's continue. The next one is a jujube seed, which I don't know what a jujube seed is. Anyway, so Zebu.
When you say jujube, I imagine a drag queen.
Yeah. Jujube. So Zebu Yu mentions nail 7 jujube seeds into the acupuncture points on the back of a corpse to like prevent them from reanimating. Fire, duh. Again, Zebu Yu mentions when set on fire, the sound of crackling flames, blood rushes forth and bones cry. You can just say it normally. When there's fire, they're afraid of fire. Why do you have to write it that way?
He's trying to be poetic.
Poetic. That's how they were before.
Yeah, I actually like it.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Can you imagine if we still spoke that way?
Yeah. It's just because we're like recording a podcast, and why do you gotta say it that way?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now we just sound stupid. It's just like, oh, that's lit. What the fuck is that?
It's lit. Hooves of a black donkey, which I didn't know there were like colored donkeys. I thought like a donkey is just
gray. I think there are brown donkeys. White? Right? I don't know.
I don't know. So specifically a black donkey. It's mentioned in Zhang Muyi's fantasy novel Ghost Blows Out the Light. So this is probably not real because it's a fantasy novel, but you guys can try if you guys have black donkeys.
And if it doesn't work, just run.
Yep. Vinegars which is mentioned by coroners in eastern Fujian, which I don't blame them. Vinegar smells bad. Abagua sign, abagua, which is like a thing in
It's a
Chinese.
hexagon.
Yep,
right?
that's it. Yeah, with like a mirror at the center. Yep, it's like known to ward off evil spirits.
Evil.
I think. Yeah.
Yes.
An I Ching, which I don't know what that is.
Same. No clue.
Tong Shu, gluttonous rice or a rice chaff. How can a rice be gluttonous?
It's actually pretty good. It's like a dim sum. It's like sticky.
Oh.
Really. I should make you try that.
It's not like mochi.
A little bit, but it's not dessert. It's like actual rice.
Okay. I want to try that. Maybe
It tastes
it'll ward
like
off evil spirits.
Yeah, no, it's really good. If you try it, you will fucking hate steamed rice in the Philippines.
Oh, okay. Nice. Another thing is adzuki beans, a handbell, a Hanuman Chalisa, as told by its author, reciting its guarantees its reciter full protection from ghosts, demons, and any other types of evil. I don't know what that is.
I'm just like, I was waiting for you to say something about it, and I'm just like, I don't get it.
A thread stained with a concoction of black ink, chicken blood, and burnt talisman. I noticed that chicken blood is very powerful for like a bunch of like
Almost everything.
Right? Even in like the Philippines, chicken blood is pretty powerful.
It's something. Don't we use that when we have birthdays and stuff? Like in the province?
Or like when you cut a tree and you don't want to disrespect the things living in the tree.
I wonder what's up with chicken.
I have no idea. Even the sound of chickens, right? They're afraid of it.
Yeah.
Roast. A blood of a black dog, which it isn't specified what kind of black dog, if it's like a Labrador or a regular mutt. As long as the color is black, you can probably use the blood of it.
Oh my god.
A stonemason's awl. I don't even know this word.
What?
I just realized how stupid I am. Awl, AWL.
I've never heard of that word before. What the fuck is that?
So that if you know what that is, that can ward off Jiang Shis. An axe, obviously, because you can kill them with it. A broom, damn, their standards are low. They're scared of brooms.
Is that why Asian parents smack their kids with a fucking broom if they don't do what they're told?
Probably.
Oh, God.
It's warding off evil spirits. Smack them with a broom.
Or because that is our childhood, we take it with us when we die. And so it's
you're
like, oh my God, no! Mom!
Probably. But brooms are, I think it's a symbol of like getting rid of things, because you're like cleaning and shit like that. So probably that's the symbolism of it. Holding one's breath. You can ward off Jiang Shis by holding your breath.
I gotta start practicing now. Like, good for you swimmers out there. You're gonna win in life.
That is just so easy. You're just gonna hold your breath and run through them. You can survive. So, a Taoist talisman stuck on the forehead to immobilize them while it's firmly stuck on. They can only be immobilized if the talisman is firmly stuck on their foreheads.
Oh, but I've seen this a lot in animes. Like, that's how they stop it. And they always use their two fingers. For some reason, they can't just, like, be normal and, like, they always have to use, like their pointer finger and their, yeah. Like.
And you know the
I don't
sound.
know why.
Like
Yes! And then they do the sparkly thing.
We obviously watch too much. Not too much. I feel like we have
the right
anime. Yeah.
Yes.
Normal.
Y'all can tell how much of a nerd we are because we just know.
Right? And I know you guys know too. If you pretending to not know,
come on,
you're a loser. Dropping a bag of coins can cause a Jiang Shi to count the coins. Which is so funny to me.
No,
because
but like
until their death, they still
money. This is like, oh my god,
the coins.
But this reminds me of Coochie Girl. Remember
Who's that?
The Japanese urban legend Kuchi Sake Onna, the smiley face.
Right.
You also drop coins and she gets distracted by it.
I probably would too.
Same. Like, bitch, I don't care. You can run away. I'll take your coins.
Right. But they can't bend, so why bother?
This is another skit. Like, drop the coins and they're just like, how do you leave?
They start planking.
But their plank is like with their fingers.
On their tiptoes.
Oh my god. With their fingers. Because they can't.
The tip of their fingers.
Yeah, because they can't bend their wrists. Oh, wow. I swear
the
this
abdominal
is...
strength you need.
Oh my god.
There's another one to subdue, according to this book by Stephanie Lamb, a writer on Hop on Pop. She lays out main methods of protecting and fending off from the Jiang Shi. So, to subdue a hopping vampire, the person, which is a Jiang Shi, the person must take a thin yellow piece of paper and write out a distinct spell and chicken's blood, which will then be attached to the vampire's forehead, which is like, I think, the talisman, where you write chicken's blood. Not chicken's blood. You write using chicken's blood.
I want to make a movie out of this, and I want the protagonist to be a provincial, like a provincial Filipino fighting off a Jiang Shi, and then he has a chicken with him, or a rooster or whatever, and he uses a yellow pad for his talisman because he's poor as fuck, and that's all he can afford.
Jesus.
Hey, it's yellow paper.
Yep, yellow paper. Another one, a person defending themselves against a hopping vampire / zombie or the Jiang Shi can use an 8-sided mirror called the Bagua mirror, or the Bagua.
So it's an octagon. We said hexagon in like
3, 4,
previously.
5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's an octagon. Which is often used in feng shui. The mirror's purpose is to reflect the light, which in turn scares the creature away. Yeah. A sword charged under the light of the moon, made of Chinese coins, can be used to attack against a vampire. The coins, man! The coins are powerful. Maybe because back then the coins were like not the coins now. They were like the big ass coins with a hole at the center.
Where if you throw it, it's gonna hurt when it hits you.
Which is why you need to throw them coins, because it's gonna hurt them.
It's true.
And the thing with like charging under the moonlight, that's like a witchcraft thing to, charge things and cleanse them. To stop a hopping vampire or zombie in its place, take a small amount of blood and place it on the creature's forehead. Your blood? Or like, it didn't specify.
It's probably still the chicken's blood. Let's assume it's the chicken's blood.
Yeah, you just gotta make sure.
It has to be more specific.
Yeah. Bring a vial of chicken's blood with you everywhere, like how Angelina Jolie used to bring the blood of her
Billy
lover
Bob.
everywhere.
Ew.
Yeah.
But how do you get close to them if it has to be on their forehead and their arms are like outstretched?
How do they kill a person if their arms are outstretched? That's preventing them from going near a person and biting them.
What if they bite this way?
Maybe they can probably
like sideways.
Maybe they can like eventually move, but how they move is like, I don't know, man. Why are we nitpicking this thing?
It has to
I
make
don't want to know.
We want to know the logistics because in case it happens, we know what to do. Yeah.
Last one, to banish a hopping vampire, a person can throw sticky rice at the creature, drawing out the evil in it. So I think just throw it in their faces.
Oh my god!
Could you imagine?
Sticky
Maybe they're
rice.
hungry. That's why they're evil, because they're hangry.
You know why they're not in the Philippines? Because we've got roosters everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And sticky rice is basically breakfast for us.
For us, exactly.
What else is there?
We've got plenty of brooms here.
Exactly.
So yeah, that is the Jiang Shi, you guys. It's actually, I mentioned earlier that it's the most famous paranormal creature in China. So they have plenty of like horror movies about the Jiang Shi. They have so many movies about the Jiang Shi. So if you guys want to get to know more how they look in movies, you can just Google it.
I think they'd immediately recognize. I can't imagine someone who would not recognize a Jiang Shi.
Yeah. Especially because of how they look. It's very specific. Like they have a hat. They're wearing robes from the Qing dynasty.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And their posture.
Yeah. It's not, and plus the sound of them bouncing or hopping.
Yes. Yeah, like
that scared me. Why did I do that?
You scared yourself. What the hell?
But yeah, the thudding sound, that's fucking scary, dude.
That was so funny. Because you were just like the tuk, and then you're like freaking out.
We do this to ourselves, guys. Like, I didn't know that was going to be scary.
Oh, jeez. You guys really should be on Patreon to see how hilarious this is. Subscribe to us on patreon.com/creepyconvos. I swear you won't regret it.
Yes. And if you have stories about the Jiang Shi or any type of story that you want to share with us, you can email it to us at creepyconvos@gmail.com, or you can follow our socials, which is Creepy Convos on
Facebook and Twitter, and Creepy Conversations on Instagram. And if you guys don't want to leave us comments, you can always rate, review, and subscribe to us on Spotify and iTunes and wherever you listen to podcasts too.
Yes. And be creative with your reviews. Even if you hate us, give us a 5-star and then like pour out your hate on the reviews. Or if
we
you
just
like
want
us,
the stars.
Yeah, if you like us, be creative. Like try to catch our attention so we can read it on the podcast.
And thanks for creeping, you fucking creeper.
And remember, you might turn into a Jiang Shi and the government is always watching you.
Bye.